All right, it's time to talk tech. We do this every Thursday afternoon with CTV tech analyst Carmi Levy. And Carmi, I want to start with this story. I saw this during the week, and I'm like, wow, I somehow never thought this would happen to this particular group. So yes, I know hackers go after everybody or anybody they think they can get money from corporately. But this story particularly interesting because it went after a company called CDK Global, which I guess most people have never heard of. But they supply all the back office, I guess, if you will, for automobile dealers across not just here, but I think pretty much across all of North America, maybe even more than that.
Yep, they are the biggest player in what's known as dealership management systems, or DMS. Basically, you walk into a dealership in Canada or the U.S. and look at one of the computers there, it will probably be running CDK software. It helps in selling cars, financing them, insuring them, scheduling a repair, ordering parts. Everything that a dealership does, it's done on this platform, and 15,000 dealerships across the continent use it. And so hackers know this, that if they target this one company, they can get lots of victims. They don't have to attack each dealership directly. They just go after the central resource, and boom, they have an entire industry. Essentially, every car dealership that uses this across North America, they've had to revert to pen and paper while they figure this out and try to recover from this devastating ransomware attack.
Hey, what's pen and paper? What is that?
That's the problem.
In
2024, yeah, most companies don't have a plan B, don't have an ability to continue functioning without this technology. They're so reliant on it. And we're seeing that now. There's some dealerships that have closed up. They just do not operate. Others, they've been delaying appointments. If you're in for service or warranty work, they simply can't process it, and they're essentially running like a skeleton crew. They're saying it could take days, if not weeks or months, to recover from.
Wow.
There has been a ransom demand. The company says it will not pay it. And it is trying to restore service as we speak. But we've seen ransomware attacks almost every day target pretty much everyone else. I guess now it's the car industry's turn.
To your point, though, this idea of having no backup, you'd think by now that companies would automatically have a backup because we keep hearing about attacks like this on a regular basis.
Well, I think this will rather perversely prompt them to finally start having that conversation. We try to learn something new from every major ransomware attack. And I think in this one, we are seeing the dangers of not having a manual option, that if the technology isn't available to us, what do we do to keep the lights on, keep the business moving forward? So I think this will lead to a healthy discussion, but unfortunately it's going to take a lot of pain. In order to sort of prompt everyone to finally have that discussion. I can scream into the wind, but sometimes you sort of have to experience it firsthand to really understand why you should have taken out that digital insurance in the first place.
You ever see this changing or going away? We've heard so many stories. We've had municipalities, hospitals attacked this way, and yet it keeps to continue. It keeps happening and happening, and it seems it can go on forever. Is there no way to deal with this?
I wish I could say, let's get an app or wave our magic wand and we'll fix this. But it's like drinking and driving, Aaron. We know what the problem is. We know what we need to do to address it. If not eliminate it, at least mitigate it, reduce the risk. But we don't seem to be willing to make those cultural changes, to prioritize, maybe spending more on cybersecurity, maybe putting our people through more training, devoting more of our technology budget to this kind of protective activity, toward having the kinds of conversations in schools, incorporating this into curriculum so that we have cyber secure students graduating and that it's part of our discipline, both in school and in business. We don't seem to be willing to do that. We treat cybersecurity as an afterthought, and this is one of the prices that we pay. And until society decides to change that, we're going to keep seeing headlines like this day after day after day. And in fact, they'll only get worse because we know the sophistication is going up, the dollar amount per attack is going up, and the number of attacks that we're seeing on any given day is going up as well.
I want to get to this next story, Carmi, because this is kind of flipping it on its head, I think, to some degree, right? We're all worried about AI generating photos and being able to recognize that they're AI and not real. Now, apparently, real Instagram photos are being given a made with AI label.
Yeah, so Instagram incorporated something called Made with AI, and that was supposed to, if somebody used an image generator app to create an image and then pass it off as real, you would see in Instagram that it was made with AI. So it would essentially, highlight the fakes. But what's happening here is real photographers are saying that Instagram is adding that label to their photos when they edit them in Photoshop or Lightroom, if they use their AI tools within these photo apps that, for example, remove a speck of dust or might change the lighting a little bit, they say if they use those tools, then their photos, which are very real, they took them, they're also being flagged as AI, and they're calling foul on it. And, disclosure, I use Lightroom and Photoshop as part of my workflow in my photography work. It hasn't happened to me yet, but I know a lot of people in my photographic community are complaining about that, and there's no subtlety. Instagram says they recognize the problem, they're working on a fix, but for now, the slightly edited by real photographers' pictures are being tagged as AI, just like the ones that are being created from scratch using these tools, and it's a giant mess. Instead of helping, it's making it worse.
Got to worry more and more about all these stories coming out of AI. Where does this end, by the way? I mean, I saw, I think was it Sam Altman? Mm-hmm. Is that the guy? The AI guy?
The CEO of OpenAI.
At some big conference over the weekend, asked the same question, say, did you not see this coming when we were talking about AI and what it could potentially lead to? And I don't think the answer was, we did.
Well, in many cases they do, but because there's no law that requires them to do the right thing or to slow things down, all they really care about is profit, is growth, is making their investors happy, even if it means pushing the bounds on little things like ethics or morals. And the legal thing, there aren't any laws in place, so it's not like they're breaking the law. So we're in this sort of weird limbo state where the technology is rushing ahead. All anyone really cares about is making money off of this and being competitive. And if there's sort of collateral damage along the way, doesn't really matter. It's let someone else worry about it. It's a very cynical way of looking at technology, and frankly, as a technologist, it rather disgusts me. But it is where we are, and it shows that this is why we need better protections in place. This is why we need elected officials who understand this stuff and work to protect folks like us from these kinds of, let's call it, just disgustingly corporate and profit-driven behaviors.
All right. Thank you for that. Let me ask you about this next story because, we're all told we need to install antivirus systems, cybersecurity stuff on our computers. Then I find out Kaspersky is a name I recognize. They've been around for a long time. I thought they were as good as it gets. And then I'm reading, or you pointed out, the U.S. has decided to ban their products over security concerns.
Yep. As of September 29th, you will not be able to buy Kaspersky or deploy it or update it or anything like that on any computer or device inside the U.S. This follows action by the U.S. Commerce Department that essentially said they are concerned about the company's ties to the Russian government, and they feel that the Russian government is using this company's technology to spy on users around the world, using it as a tool of spycraft. If this sounds a lot like TikTok, that's exactly why. Yeah. We're seeing this happen again and again and again. We're seeing the U.S. go after the highest profile of these companies. Interestingly, in Canada, Kaspersky is banned for use by the Canadian government on government devices. So there's no national ban. If you're a regular old citizen, you can still use it and buy it, but it's still too risky for our government. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking, I really want to have security software on my device, I'm not sure which one to choose, you may want to go with another brand simply because it's only a matter of time before, if it's too risky for the government, maybe it's too risky for us as well. Let's choose something else.
I would ask the question to you, the cybersecurity expert. What do you use as a cybersecurity program?
I don't, because I've never been a huge believer in simply installing an app and assuming that I'm safe. Oh. Cybersecurity, if you look at CDK Global, for example, that wasn't caused by sort of breaking through technology. It was caused by a person clicking on a link in their inbox. And so right now, the main risk isn't coming from viruses or worms that install themselves below our radar. It's coming from us doing the wrong thing, engaging in the wrong kinds of behaviors. And so that's another problem I have with these security packages is they tend to motivate us to be a little bit less worried about technology. We assume, well, I've got that on my device, so I'm okay. No, you're never okay, and no app will ever make you okay.
Holy cow. Does that mean I should install, or people listening thinking they should install whatever antiviral software they have?
No, you know what? I wouldn't worry about that. I would look at your behaviors. For example, are you oversharing on social media? Are you using the same password across multiple systems? Are you not hovering over email addresses when you get an email that looks a little bit hinky from someone that you know? If there's even a remote answer of yes to any of these, that will keep you safer than installing any software on your device.
All right, this is great. All right, Carmi, as always, very much appreciated. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Carmi Levy, CTV Tech Analyst. Who knew?